Hey folks, this is Abel James, and thanks so much for joining us on Fat Burning Man, where we talk about real food and real results. I'm going to start today's show off with a question for you. Have you ever been misdiagnosed at the doctor's office? If so, you're not alone. But get this, medical errors are now the third leading cause of death in the United States, claiming more than 250,000 lives every single year. To put that into perspective, that's significantly more than respiratory disease, accidents, stroke, and even Alzheimer's. So if you want to know what you should really be afraid of, it's not shark attacks and plane crashes. It goes like this: cancer, heart disease, and medical errors. Fat Burning Man is all about practicing preventative medicine and taking your health into your own hands. Often, that requires a great deal of courage to go against the grain. And the good news is that you can learn from our mistakes. So this week's guest, Mary the Paleo Chef, turned a misdiagnosis of cancer into a calling. She healed her laundry list of health problems with nutrition, and now she teaches professional athletes, celebrities, and other overachievers like us to do the same. Before we get to the show, here's a quick announcement. I just got word that I've been chosen to curate the next quarterly biohack box. If you haven't heard of quarterly, past curators include Bill Nye the Science Guy, one of my personal heroes, and Tim Ferriss, but this next box of biohacking goodies will be even better. You may have seen me whip out my survival pack for Kurt on the My Diet show on ABC, but now I'm packing one up for you folks. This biohack box will have everything you need to stay fit on the road. Right now I have to keep the contents of the biohack box a secret, but I can give you one little teaser. And it's definitely going to include my favorite battery-powered hand frother so you can make the perfect fatty coffee no matter where you are. The boxes are limited, so you can get all the details at fatburningman.com/box. That's B-O-X. fatburningman.com/box. Many more details to come. I'm excited about this one. Here's another quick update from one of our members of the tribe, Brandon. He's now down an incredible 92 pounds in about 8 months with the Wild Diet. And more importantly, he's off his blood pressure medicine for the first time in years. Congratulations, Brandon. Just want to say this and broadcast it to the world. He's only got 26 pounds to go, but we're going to get you there, man. We'll keep you all updated with how it goes. And if you want to share your own personal story with me, hit me up at fatburningman.com or, as always, on social media of various kinds under Abel James or Fat Burning Man. By the way, our new 30-day meal plans in the Fat Burning Tribe are ready. They include no-guilt waffles with scrambled eggs and bacon, wild buffalo wings, and even a bit of chocolate. Right now, you can join us for a discount in the Fat Burning Tribe and get our wild meal plans and our coaching community at a discount. All you have to do from any device is type in fatburningtribe.com to join us. All right, on to the show with Mary the Paleo Chef. You're about to learn how Mary dropped 30 pounds by eating more fat, what to do when you're misdiagnosed, how Mary cured her debilitating migraines with food, how to make a proper fat bomb, and much more. All right, let's go hang out with Mary. All right, folks, after a lifetime of health complications, Mary left a successful career in Silicon Valley to become Mary the Paleo Chef. Her clients include professional athletes, best-selling authors, celebrity chefs, reality show stars, and high-powered executives. Mary, what's cooking?
Dude, that's the greatest intro to me ever.
I think it's the greatest intro ever.
I'm going to have to commission you to do that every time I walk into a room. Excuse me, Abel has me to say first.
I'm happy to do that for you. So,
Thank you.
I mean, it's fun, right? You're a very fun person. You've showed the world that you really can follow your passion and do awesome stuff that kind of comes from a place of pain and suffering in your case, right? So for people who aren't familiar with what you do, where you came from, can you explain the time when basically you were diagnosed with everything, including cancer?
Yes. So I've been suffering migraines, not anymore now, but I started in second grade, and migraines for a second grader is pretty odd.
Mm-hmm.
And I would constantly be sent to the nurse because I'm in physical pain, and then sent back to class because I don't have a fever.
Right.
So they would think I was lying. So that was the beginning of feeling like everybody was calling me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
In second grade, and not until I'd have like projectile vomit would they take me a little more seriously.
Right.
And that's when the test would start, because I would have a headache almost every day and a severe migraine once or twice a week. As I got older, the migraines got worse to where people would find me passed out and vomit because I was vomiting so much that I would just black out and be rushed to the ER and then be told that I'm lying and I must have overdosed on drugs, and me just being like, I swear I don't do anything, I'm a swear. And the headache started then, and then as I got older, hives and physical pain and irregular periods and problems with my eyesight, and it just kept getting worse. And I was an athlete. I played tennis, and I wasn't going to let this pain that I had take away from the things that I like. So I would, this is going to sound awful, I would crush Vicodin and coffee grounds together and rub it into my gums before tennis matches, just so I could get through the tennis match. Yeah. I didn't go to college. I went straight from high school into corporate America and was crushing it in the boys club. And if you have a bad day, they assume, oh, she's on her period or she broke up with a guy. So I'm like, okay, crushing Vicodin, rubbing it into my gums so I could get through a work day and be in the hospital a lot and hide the fact that I was in the hospital, because I was worried that I would get fired for missing work days, or even going on dates and having to constantly say I have a headache or my stomach hurts, and then them being like, if you want to bail on a date, you can just say so. I'm like, bro, I would totally tell you if I wanted to bail on this date. Don't worry.
I bet you would.
So this all became normal to me. And at some point I decided, all right, this is going to be my baseline. Pain is my baseline. I just have to accept it. I'm going to pretend that someone somewhere else in the world is suffering less because I'm carrying all their pain. I got this. Until it knocked me out at 24. They told me that I had cervical cancer. They told me that I had lupus. They were taking 30 vials of blood every other day to try to figure out what's going on. I would be on different steroids, which only made me sicker. I would be under my desk with a blanket taking naps, and my face would be super swollen, and people are concerned, but I'm like, no, soldier must go on. I'm trying to get my job done. It was a constant. And I remember at one point looking up the medications that they gave me to understand really what was going on, and finding out that one of them were antipsychotics. Really? And I called the doctor to ask him why he wasn't my normal doctor this one visit. And he's like, well, I was worried that a lot of it had to do with depression and it was psychosomatic for you. So I just went ahead and prescribed that. I'm like, few choice words over the phone.
Right. Yeah, I got an antidepressant to help me sleep at one point without realizing what it was. It was in my early 20s. It sounds like we have kind of like a similar thing going on there.
Awful. And I think my breaking point was one of my final ER visits, where the whole time I was there, the nurse was accusing me of lying to get drugs. And I cannot even get up off the ground because I've been vomiting so much that my muscles are all weak. Man. And I'm trying to explain to her that I don't want any of your morphine. I don't want the needles. Just please tell me what's causing this pain. And she's yelling at me, telling me that I'm lying and I need to tell her what drugs I took. Yeah. This is not a shining moment in my life. Sure. I took the bedpan of vomit and just threw it across the room. And I'm like, listen to me!
Oh my God.
I don't want drugs. So that was my breaking point of accepting that this was normal, because I felt like the elephant in the room. Yeah. Started to listen to the idea of gluten intolerance that was starting to become a little bit more mainstream at the time. Yeah. And went online, found the Dr. Terry Well's talk about the mitochondria. Right on, yeah. I did a report in high school on the mitochondria and rewrote the words to a Beastie Boys song for my report. And I had this like aha moment. I'm like, I totally get it. It all has to do with supporting my mitochondria. Okay, we're not converting cell energy correctly. And found a lab called
As we all do.
Yeah. And then I sent out my own lab work, because I had been tested for gluten intolerance through my regular doctor with blood testing. And then in that research period, I found out that that's pretty inconclusive.
Right, like so 60%, right?
60% inconclusive. That is the huge margin of error. Like, oh, you might be 60% pregnant. No, right. That's unacceptable. Yeah. So I was expecting gluten intolerance to come back in that report, but it came back full-blown celiac, casein intolerance, and soy intolerance. Wow. And I think the biggest difference I hear between myself and maybe some of my clients or readers is I was stoked to find out that this was the only thing between me and being even more awesome than I already was.
Right. And that's the cool thing, right? Is you would expect that knowing what your biggest problems are would be awful. But I see it as just like, no, look at this like low-hanging fruit to make your life way better than it is right now.
Yeah. And this is to touch on something else. People talk about eating healthy being expensive. Do you know how much money I've saved in ER visits and how much money I've saved in medication?
My Lord.
It pays tenfold for the food that I eat.
Yeah.
So within a couple of months of just removing those ingredients from my diet, every single ailment went away. Every single one. Cool byproduct, wasn't the focus, but I lost weight as well, which is a great little thing to reel people in because for some reason they care about the vanity first and then the health second. Some people in Silicon Valley noticed the difference, noticed me being a little more present than I was before. Someone in particular asked me what was going on, asked for a consulting session with me. I did a lot of corporate coaching, so we just wrapped that into the corporate coaching, and then asked me if I would cook for them. And my first response was like, no, I don't cook for people.
Yeah.
I manage multi-million-dollar accounts. Thank you. And he wrote a check and said, this is how much I'd be willing to pay you to cook some meals for me. And I was like,
Yeah. Suddenly you grew a beard and started stroking.
Yeah, I grew. Very thoughtful. I tried to do both for a little while. Keep my job and cook for this person. My body said nope, went into adrenal fatigue. I had to choose one. I loved my corporate job. I was good at it. I'm not one of those people like I hated corporate. It wasn't 100% satisfying, but now we know why.
Yeah.
So I decided to quit my job. I went in the next day after I had that shutdown on 101 because my body was too tired. Told my boss, this is my notice. He said, I knew this would happen one day. Please go back to your desk. I said, no, this has to happen. And he made the transition easy. He took my pipeline for 1 month for me so I could go hang out at home and figure out, marry the Paleo Chef.
Sure.
And then the rest is history. Within a couple months of that, I had so many, I would wake up every morning with a new, cool, famous person in my inbox, that found me. And I'm like, what? This is so cool.
That is super cool. I think we started around the same time, right? It was like 2012, 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Getting old.
It's amazing how things have changed since then, right? Especially when you look at the world of paleo, ancestral health. One of the things, we were talking about this before the interview, that I think is important, we chat about now is what, when you hear the word paleo mentioned on holiday Inn commercials and everyone's talking about it,
yes.
No one really knows how to define it and what that means. But you have an interesting approach to all of this, I think.
Yes. So every time I see it in any mainstream TV show or movie now, because it's mentioned a lot of places.
It is, yeah.
And it's mentioned tongue in cheek. And I love it for the fact that it's getting a name drop.
Sure.
Therefore, people can go Google it later, even though they're making fun of it.
Yeah.
So we all know what strict paleo is. Or do we not? No grains, dairy, no soy, no sugar. Don't shave your legs, live in a cave, no internet.
Right.
But I really believe in the concept of Paleo is what I tell a lot of my readers when they come my way and see me drinking scotch. And they're like, scotch isn't paleo. And I'm like,
scotch is totally paleo right now.
Paleo for my peace of mind. If you want me to respond to all these comments, I need to drink scotch. So for me, it's really about eat like you give a damn about yourself. Yeah. I truly, at the end of the day, don't care what you eat. I care that you care what you eat. So it's very, very great to try on strict paleo for a period of time so you get a clean slate. And then slowly introduce different things back in your diet. And if you can tolerate it, have extra for me. Yeah. I can never have dairy. Cheese, I miss. Feta cheese, spanakopita, heart great.
Yeah, delicious.
But a lot of people can't. So if you can, you've found your paleo, and that's great. And it is really about just making sure that what you put into your body is going to help you level up and help you be your own awesome. And mind your own plate. Don't worry about what this person's doing. Don't worry about what that person's doing. I mean, if you want to buy 100 paleo books and find the one that resonates with you, awesome. But then even know that one book that resonates with you, your personal profile is still going to be just a little bit different than that.
Yeah. And different from day to day, month to month, year to year.
Totally. Have you noticed some changes?
Yeah.
Have you noticed what you can tolerate?
People go through so many different phases, right? And even I, when I first started going paleo, I was doing food sensitivity testing at the same time. And so a lot of the paleo foods, and I'm using air quotations right now, I was highly sensitive to or intolerant of. And so from the beginning, I was doing kind of like high fat, low carb, not paleo, not really anything else. And it's like, why does everyone need to always dig into this one thing being 100% true all the time for everyone? Because since that day, you know, and I avoided a few things, I've switched my diet around. My next round of testing came back. I wasn't really sensitive to anything. Reincorporating foods, it's always changing. Your energy's going up and down. If you have adrenal fatigue, you're eating differently than you do day to day or right now, right? So how do you know how to gauge that so that you're eating right for what you're doing?
I get asked that a lot, especially since I don't have a science background. So I think if I want to believe in like past lives, I think I was an alchemist at some other point in my life.
I would believe that.
Because some of my clients, yes, are professional athletes, but I have some clients that have some serious stuff going on. I have clients that are in late stage cancer. I have clients that have do have lupus, that have narcolepsy, and I'm dealing with serious stuff from a food perspective of making the meals. And before I go and speak to their nutritionist or their doctor, I already have in my mind what I want to cook them as far as spices are concerned. And the doctors are always like, how do you just know? And I go, it's going to sound so weird, but if I just smell a spice or an herb, something in me says yes for this and no for that. And I think because I had to be so aware of my body for so long, especially in the transition period, I now just know how to listen to different trigger responses that my body has. Your body is so much smarter than you if you just shut up and listen to it. Yeah. And it is trying on a lot of things. Yeah, when I'm in adrenal fatigue, I don't do high fat, low carb, which is typically my regular diet. Yeah. Near my period, my diet will change as well. First, it's getting all the information I need, experimenting with things. They're not experiments to me, but a lot of people don't like liver. Please try liver and just see how your body feels after it. Sure. Try some new spices, see how your body feels after it in those isolated situations, and then you're going to become your own alchemist. It takes time. It took 5 years. I love when someone wants to change 30 to 40 years of eating habits in 7 days. Right. Yeah. Like, come on.
It gets deep. Food is one of the most personal things we have, and we don't realize how emotional it is, how much baggage we literally bring to the table. It's nuts. Yeah.
The food will help you or hurt you.
Yeah.
And I have a thing with mortality. I've lost a lot of people near and dear to me. And I just, it's so important that anybody that comes in my sphere, even if it's just in a bar walking by me and we have an interaction, that they know that I really want them to enjoy as much of life as possible in the time they have here.
Yeah. And one of the
I'm sorry for all the pinging, by the way. My birthday, and I don't know how to turn that off. And I'm just
That's right. Happy birthday, by the way. Everyone who's listening, I can't believe that Mary's doing this on her birthday, but it's pretty amazing. I think it's, it's one of those things. I work on my birthday too. It's just when you believe in what you do, you have to. It's like a little gift to yourself almost, because you appreciate what you do so much.
It is. And this is a wonderful way to spend my birthday. And it's not work.
It's not. This is pretty awesome. Hang out. We're totally hanging out. So anyway, you brought up a point that I really want to dig into a little bit, that people walking around you want to be like screaming at them, you can save your own life right now. That first step, though, realizing that what you eat really affects that, is huge for people to, it's hard for people to make that leap, even for us, I think, right? Like you're surrounded by vomit in a hospital wondering what you could do. You didn't realize that one thing that you can actually take control of your own health by fueling the right way, avoiding nasties, eating the things that nourish your body. How can you help people kind of cross over to the dark side, right? Where you believe that you can actually take this into your own hands. You can heal yourself with food.
Well, one, I try to be the example.
Yeah.
So I live a great life. I feel great. I'm having fun. That should speak for itself. And it has. That's why I have the people contacting me that I do. Then when they come to me with all their excuses, I'm just like, I don't want to hear. Shh, are you done yet? Okay, now we can talk. Now tell me all the things you love to eat. Let's start there. What do you love to eat? Awesome. First, I'm going to make you or show you how to make these meals that you love with these ingredients, just to give them a sense of relief. After they have that sense of relief, then we go into why am I having you remove these ingredients? First, I want to show you it's going to be fun before I scare you with all the no's.
Right.
Then we talk into the why. And I usually leave it at that, and I kind of walk away because I've done my job. And I kind of, and then as soon as I walk away, they're like, wait, no, I want more information. Where do I do this and where do I do that? And I think speaking to the positive from the emotional standpoint of the connection to food makes them go like this. Yeah. And then they're more open to hearing the no's and then learning a little bit more after that. There was a time in my life where I would just smack, no gluten, stop it.
Yeah.
Which just scared people. So I knew that was, my enthusiasm there was going the wrong way.
Yeah. So you have to be a little bit more gentle, a little bit more moderate at the beginning. Hook people in.
Yes.
Hook people in with bacon.
Yes, yes. I say bacon and scotch. The other one's inappropriate, but then I'm like, you get to have bacon, scotch, and as much of that other stuff as you want. It's great.
Oh man, I dig it. So let's talk about the thing that I know you mentioned sometimes when you explain your story, people around you, especially in corporate America, they notice when you start focusing on your diet, when you become that health nut, because all of a sudden, not only do you look different, but you start performing differently. And I know you work with a lot of people who not just want to look better for vanity's sake or anything like that, but literally just want to upgrade their brains. They want to be faster. They want to live longer. What are some of the things that are possible in that regard? What have you seen with your own clients?
From going from good to just badass?
Yeah. Or going from okay, like most people are, to kind of reaching their full potential.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the most current ones that come to mind. The way that I cook food and the infusion of Phat Fudge into their lives, which we can talk about later.
Yeah, let's do it.
A few of them no longer crave, need, want anything that's sugary or sweet. Cool. And these are the athletes. And cutting out sugar as an athlete is huge. So joint pain is going away. I'm constantly getting text messages like, I hit a PR today. I shaved 7 minutes off my marathon. And I'm like, what? I can't even shave a millisecond off my marathon.
Yeah.
So they're feeling good, and they're also attaching that to their champion mindset. I have people who feel more inspired from a creative aspect, that their writer's block is non-existent, or the lyrics, the songwriters that I work with, the lyrics are coming out. There's just a sense of, it's almost like, what am I feeling? I'm feeling like when they're not eating the way they should be. And there's no difference to me with what you put into your mouth, with what you put into your mind. If it's good food, good thoughts. Junk food, junk self-esteem. Yeah. So I noticed the overall arching thing is their self-esteem, their confidence, their clarity, their focus is just yeah. And with that, everything else goes with it. So whether it's the weight, whether it's on the field, whether it's in the boardroom, all of it comes with it. There's no blockage between the heart, mind, soul, and literally your gut. So when I say trust I sign all my letters with trust your gut. I mean twofold: trust your intuition and literally trust your gut biome. What is it saying? When someone's like, "Can I have dairy?" I go, "I don't know. How do you feel when you have dairy?" "Well, I get really bloated." I go. And they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have dairy." The no-duh diet.
How about this? So how do you still make food an indulgent, awesome part of your life when you have so many things that you're trying to eat around, like all these ingredients that you know will do damage?
Well, give me an example of something that you think is indulgent and how you would have trouble eating around it, because that differs for every person.
Yeah, for sure. Let's start with breakfast, because that's just full of landmines, right? Going from grains to high fats to nuts or whatever. Choose your poison.
It's the easiest. It's bacon.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So breakfast for me personally is a cube of Phat Fudge with unicorn fuel, which is blended into the coffee. If I feel like I need more that day, it's a couple strips of bacon. If I need carbs that day, it's sweet potatoes. If I want to indulge, it's pancakes made with almond flour and macadamia nut flour. Okay. Which is to me, and I indulge because I can't even imagine how many nuts are in one pancake to make that flour.
Right, sure. A lot.
It's making my own sausage. They're called maca morning sausages.
Cool.
Because I'd rather know all the ingredients going into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, and it's planning ahead. And for the love of God, the paleo God, it's mindset. If you look forward to this stuff, it's easy. So there's breakfast.
I like it. You have it covered. Well, that's the coolest thing, because a lot of people think, I can't eat dairy. All I want is cheese. What am I going to do? Oh, I might as well just eat cheese. I can't do this. Right? That's the thought process.
Yeah.
How do you help people take the next step? Is it making sure that they are their own alchemist in the kitchen?
Yeah, because so typically a private chef has one client and they're on a salary and they work with them for years. Sure. I've carved myself out, made it very, very clear. Also, the reason why my rates are so high is so people can't afford me full time, because I'm supposed to go in there, clean everything out, show you how to be your own boss. And if you have a full-time chef, show them how to fuel you. Get out and do my job somewhere else. My job is to give you all the tools. My job is to have a rebuttal for every single one of your stupid excuses. And be like, now it's on you and peace out.
Yeah. What are the excuses you get all the time? What drives you up the wall?
Yeah, just I'm going to miss this. I go, if you're going to miss it, why am I sitting here? Why am I talking to you? You called me because you wanted to feel better. You wanted to look better. You wanted to perform better. I'm going to miss this. Or what do I do when I'm going out to a restaurant? Or what about my birthday? It's a lot has to do with psychology.
Yeah.
I don't have this problem with my athletes. And I've said this before. There's a difference between being a champion and being just a regular human being. I don't deal with human beings.
True.
Champions, no. They have to put in the work day in and day out, and then they get the trophy. And then once they get the trophy, the next day that doesn't exist, they're back to doing the work. The blah mindset is, I want everything now, and then I'm going to do the work. Good luck with that plan.
What are some of the things that people might not think that they can do in the kitchen? Simple, quick, easy meals that can kind of get them started right away.
I do think a lot of people are intimidated by the kitchen, especially if they didn't spend time in there. Start with easy meals, really easy meals. It's difficult to pinpoint one thing because, like, in my bookshelf, we have all these great cookbooks, ranging from really, really simple to really, really difficult. If you're just starting out, please don't try to make a paleo souffle. Calm your Start with bacon and eggs. Start with a meatloaf. Start with chicken cacciatore, which is simply putting chicken in a crock pot with some tomatoes and seasoning, and then having an amazing meal later. Start simple. And then master those simple dishes. And the second you master the simple dishes, you will naturally start to want to become your own pro in the kitchen and dabble in things that might be considered more complex. Sometimes put out an array of spices in front of you with some veggies and some homemade mayo and start tasting the spices so you start to understand your palate. And what's interesting, what your body might like taste-wise might be exactly what your body is craving nutrient-wise. So you become your own alchemist. I've done a couple of like bachelor cleanouts where I've gone to a guy's house to teach them how to cook, and like dudes have literally just a thing of salt in their kitchen and that's it. And they're about right. Chopping nimbly, or I remember one client had something called butter flavoring. And I'm like, what is butter flavoring? And I open it and I'm like, bro, this tastes. We go, this smells like steam. Yeah. This is disgusting. And he's like, I don't want that.
I bet he got rid of it. Yeah, that worked.
And by the end, we did 4 hours. And a couple of his guy friends were watching us cook. By the end of the 4 hours of teaching him how to cook some simple things and playing with spices, he had made my tahini tuna. And he takes a bite. I go, so what do you think? And he goes, I think it could use a little more paprika. And I'm like, look at you!
No way.
Paprika!
Wow. That's awesome.
It's just getting there and playing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so many people, they think that they need 100 kitchen gadgets that cost $20,000 and all this stuff. You need a cast iron skillet and some bacon and eggs, and then you're golden.
That's it. I cannot stand single-use items.
Yeah.
They drive me insane. People ask me what kind of things I have because I'm a chef. Yeah. And I have 4 crock pots because I have to cook in bulk sometimes. Sure. But Pots, pans, knives. That's it.
Boom. Easy.
You don't have a chopper? No, I have hands.
Well, there's something to be said for that too. I think, the idea that you can go in there and be an opportunist in the kitchen, that's kind of where that's the direction that I come from. Is basically my dad, he cooked his way through college. That's back when you could do that, right? It took him 5 years or whatever, but he did it, and he loved it. And to this day, no matter what we had in the fridge or what we didn't have in the fridge, it's like we ran out of ketchup, and he's just like, all right, I can make that in 5 minutes. And then he just like puts everything together. He's smelling stuff. He's having fun. We're tasting things. And that's really why I have so much fun in the kitchen now, is I think I had that positive example. And that's something that fewer and fewer people seem to be getting these days, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But the idea that you can just go and no matter what's in the fridge, put something together is super exciting for people who experience that for the very first time.
Yeah, I've been doing that on Periscope lately, where I'm like, you guys, this is all I have. Looks like nothing. Yeah. Watch it turn into something seriously gourmet in like 45 minutes. But there's something to be said too, and I feel like this is going to happen all your meals, because you're such a force of. I don't think I've ever been around anyone as positive as you are. Almost annoying, dude. I'm like, where does this come from? Sure. But that energy goes into the meal.
Yeah.
And makes the meal that much more healing and much more flavorful. I cannot make a meal for someone I don't like. It's really difficult. I will try all my skills, and it'll still come out like, ugh. And I'm like, I can't be friends with you anymore. I clearly don't like you based on the output of this meal.
Right.
But there's a lot to be said for going in there with that playful attitude. It will make the meal. I think there was an experiment done where they gave everybody a recipe. They made the recipe. And then they said, okay, now do the same recipe, same instructions, and think about somebody you love. And the meals came out differently.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot with my friend George Bryant and some of the other like cooks in the space. It's just whatever you're bringing into the kitchen, it turns out great or it turns out not so great, because there's just something. There's more than nutrients in your food. There's more than just calories in, calories out. There's something about that that's totally cool. And I think one of the things that helps people realize that cooking is a necessity is that it's a gift for the people around you, right? There's something so intimate about cooking for people or cooking with people and making that a part of your routine. Is there anything that you do to help people not only do it for themselves, but really start being that force for change in their own family?
It usually starts with one of them, especially if I'm working with one person in a family and the family is not on board.
Right.
I teach that person to be an example, and as soon as they get it, I call it the click. They get the click, and they become it. Their family starts to ask questions, much like people in corporate America asking me questions. So I tell them, I know it's rough because you definitely want to get your family on board with healthy living, because you want them to be around as long as possible and have good quality of life. But you can't worry about them until you get the click. And I promise you, the second that happens, they naturally start to ask questions and hop on board.
Yeah.
It really is about taking care of yourself and being authentic in that caretaking. And it's contagious. Being happy and being awesome is contagious.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about it being so intimate. When I was in corporate America, part of how I would win my deals, because I started out 10, 15, sometimes 20 years younger than the meetings that I was pitching people to.
Sure.
So I would take the decision maker out for a cooking lesson, because they probably have never cooked. So now we're on even playing ground. Cool. And gaining that trust with breaking bread. And I always close the deal after that. I'm like, yep, just like here. So I use it a little bit differently. Sneaky. But it is something we all have in common. And it's really, it's something that means a lot to me. I think from my culture, having two parents that were in the kitchen all the time means a lot. And I like to see more of that with, I get all emotional with like the youth and the younger generation, especially in at-risk areas, because there isn't somebody at home to cook for them. And it has so much to do with self-esteem moving forward in life.
Yeah, it does. Now let's talk about one of your fun projects that you're working on.
Yes.
Phat Fudge. I haven't tried it yet, but I really want to. Tell us about that.
Well, I will send you some.
Well, thank you.
So Phat Fudge is fun. Phat Fudge came about. There's a dessert called halawa, which is pretty much paleo. It's just honey and tahini. And I was making halawa, and it's a 36 to 48 hour process. And I messed up a batch. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just throw in all my unicorn fuel ingredients, which is a coffee that I make with butter, MCT, turmeric, cayenne, cinnamon, vanilla. It's like everything you need in the morning. Yeah. Which I made that because my clients didn't like just butter and coffee. They're like, this is plain, because they're used to like all the flavors. So I'm like, well, let's put this other stuff in there. Cool. So I threw in all the ingredients for unicorn fuel into that, and tasted amazing. And I said, okay, there's too much honey in this. So let's just up the butter, down the honey, up the tahini. Did that. Started to make it for my professional athlete clients. They are telling me that it's freaking magic. And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. Awesome. Got fat in your diet, got the spices that I need in the right combination. Let's post the recipe online. Recipe went viral. We had football players, baseball players, actors, NASCAR racers. Some of my favorite artists are like making it, loving it, asking for it to become a product. They were making it and putting it in sandwich baggies and running races with it. So I'm like, okay, I'll make it I'll make it into a product. So I decided to hand pack squeeze packs myself in my apartment. And I said, okay, I'm going to do 50 orders of 12 packs for sale real quick. We'll see if there's any desire for it. I put on a unicorn head, went on Periscope, and I said, Phat Fudge is a product! And it sold out in 1 hour.
That's crazy.
I was like, crap, this is awesome. And it wasn't even that it just sold out an hour. When I saw some of the names that came through, like well-known names, I was like, they love me.
So
they really
cool.
love me.
Yeah.
I did that for a couple weeks, like 50 orders at a time, kept selling out. Decided that I had to do find a co-packer because people were getting pissed that it was getting sold out. Like, found out the co-packers had extraordinary minimums, like really high. And I'm like, small business. Right. So options: Kickstarter or investor or borrow money. Kickstarter. I did a Kickstarter in the past. I made it fail on purpose, which is a whole different story. And then I didn't really want to go through the antics of Kickstarter and they take a fee. I didn't want an investor because I don't want to give up 50% of my business before I have a business. So it's like, okay, screw it. Let's do an epic pre-sale and see if we can make this happen on its own. So I told them, hey, everybody, co-packer has this extraordinary minimum. I don't have $100,000 just to throw out like that. I need you guys to hop on board, pre-order this so I can make my minimums. And then we'll turn this into a full-fledged product because we've got different Whole Foods, Erewhon, people like that want it on their shelves that I'm over here like, I accidentally created a business. What the heck do I do? Yeah. So in 30 days, we did $80,000 in sales. Wow. Met the co-packer minimums. It's been a brutal learning process about what it gets to a food product like that out. I've learned and have so much compassion for other people that do it the right way. Yeah. You can cut a lot of corners of quality, and I've been refusing to do that. And so Phat Fudge as it is the butter, the tahini, the cayenne, the turmeric, the vanilla, the coffee. It's awesome. The feedback that I get's really cool because I have postpartum moms using it for helping feed the baby, for getting rid of their baby weight, all the way up to the professional athletes. And there's a couple of movie sets and TV sets that instead of eating donuts, the actors are getting Phat Fudge. Right. So I'm rolling out this month vegan and Phat Fudge Burn, which has no honey and MCT oil in it, which is the one that I use personally. Yeah. I'm pretty pumped on it. I have a unicorn certification on it that I made.
I saw that. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's Phat Fudge. It's cool. And this is a byproduct of me doing what I love. Yeah. I accidentally created a business. Yeah. Accidentally on purpose.
That's what happens. But you know what? When you follow, it's so cool because like a lot of us kind of started around the same time and you follow people who you knew just back then kind of had it, right? And they followed very strange paths. A lot of time. I mean, I was on reality TV and you're making a Phat Fudge or whatever. It's
I'm just a fudge packer.
Yeah, you're a fudge packer. But it's fantastic to see that happen. And that's I think it's a true testament really to what we were talking about before. When you get your health under control, when you start fueling the right way, you realize that more is possible. You start doing things that you really believe in. You believe in it so much that you just kind of have to do it. it's a service, it's a calling, it's something that's so much fun. And I know a lot of people who are listening, that's what they do. And so props to you guys. I think it's, it's exciting to see that real food is really getting traction now, because that wasn't the case a few years ago.
It's a gateway to so much. You have no idea what's on a shelf back there because your body's dealing with all of the health issues. So it can't even access that gem, that $1 million idea back there.
Yeah.
Like just doing what I was good at is getting me to where I am now. And to the credit, I'm still at just the beginning. Like I've done a lot, but it takes a while to get to just the beginning.
Yeah.
And you got to clear out all that crap to access that part of your heart, mind, body, and soul. And I don't know, people are waiting for it. Do it now.
Yeah, do it now. No, we're getting close to time, but I want to make sure I ask you a couple more things. The first is, one of the biggest things people struggle with at the beginning of all this is eating fat. I can't eat fat, especially for women. So I know that you're a fan of getting good, high quality fats in there. What are some of the things you do to help get people on board with the fact that they shouldn't be afraid of fat anymore?
I deal with this a lot, especially with my female clients. They are terrified of fat because it's been something that's just been hammered in so long.
Yeah.
I don't remember who made this analogy. I think it was a doctor. Maybe you might know. But I was talking about clogged arteries and cholesterol. And think of it as your kitchen floor. If you drop sugar onto your floor, it becomes sticky. And things just pile up and stick on that. But if you drop butter on your floor, it's slicky. And nothing sticks to that. So everything is fluid. So I start with that analogy first to make them more terrified of sugar.
Yeah, good.
Than of butter. And then I explain that feeding your brain first, good high quality fat, tells your body we're not starving, we're not hungry, and it lets go of everything that's excess. So it's not that you're eating 10,000 calories of butter. You're just feeding the right parts of your body first.
Right.
So the false hunger, the false needs, the false cravings dissipate.
Yeah.
And I really tell them you got to trust the process. It is a process. So I start there. And honestly, if there is pushback, I just remind them how much money they're spending for my time.
Right.
And then I
there
go,
you go.
Trust me.
That's awesome.
Just trust me.
That's awesome. Well, this was great. I have one last question, but before we get there, please tell folks where they can find you and some of the other things you're working on.
Yeah, so paleochef.com is my website. Paleo Chef on Instagram is where I might use it as my microblog. Everything.
Yeah, your Instagram is amazing.
Goes there. If people don't have Instagram, all my Instagram posts automatically become blog posts on my website, so you have to miss out on any of my tomfoolery. Phatfudge.com, PHATFUDGE.com is where you find Fat Fudge. I don't know what else I'm doing. I think that's it for now. This.
Yeah, this. On your birthday, so last question, what are you having today? Anything special? Any nice treats?
This is the first year I really didn't plan anything at all. My family's I've had a pretty tough year. I've had such a great year and also a really tough year personally. Right. So I've been balancing the two, and I'm spending a lot of time being really, really grateful, thinking about some people that are no longer with us. Gonna watch sunset. I had a cake. There's a bakery in LA called Sinners and Saints that they will make you a paleo cake for your birthday if you want. So I had a cake made, and then my friend Courtney Ford, she's an actress out here that surprised me and sent a picture out. I've been craving cake on Instagram. She made me a paleo cake and sent me the list of all the ingredients and the mold testing on the ingredients.
Wow.
She knows. She's like, these are the ingredients. So I have 2 cakes. So I'm going to do this, but I got to work on Fat Fudge after our time together. Emails. I'm almost at inbox 0. And then I'm going to eat cake and watch sunset and just be really, really, really grateful for the good and the bad. Full spectrum living, as I call it.
Freaking awesome. Well, happy birthday. We're very thankful for you, Mary. Thanks so much for coming on, taking your time on this show. This was a lot of fun. I think you're going to inspire a lot of people.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, don't forget to grab your listener discount on our 30-day fat loss plan. In this plan, we share 30 days of mouth-watering wild diet meal plans that are designed to help you drop fat with real food. The meal plans are paleo-friendly, easy to make, and literally the meals that my wife Allison and I eat just about every day and night to stay lean, fit, and happy. In the program, you'll get the most effective method of meal and nutrient timing to best stimulate fat loss and muscle recovery, the truth about how much protein you really need for your body type, 30 days of specific, healthy, fat-burning meal plans as a done-for-you nutrition strategy, and tons more. If you check it out today, you'll even get a listener discount. All you have to do is type in fatburningman.com/30 days. That's the number 30, DAYS. Once again, that's fatburningman.com/30 days. I'll see you there. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Fat Burning Man. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, the podcast app, or wherever else you might be listening to or watching this show. Got a second? Please leave me a quick review on iTunes. I always love hearing from you, and if you think someone else might like and benefit from this free show, please take a second to share it with a friend or with a family member. You can get in touch with me on Twitter at FatBurnMan and Facebook by typing in Abel James or Fat Burning Man. Drop me a line anytime. Did you know that I've recorded over 150 episodes of Fat Burning Man, winning 4 awards in independent media and hitting #1 in more than 8 countries? And here's some more good news. You can download and listen to every single episode for free. All you have to do is type in fatburningman.com. I'll give you a second to type it in, fatburningman.com. And you'll get all the show notes in video and audio versions for all the past episodes of Fat Burning Man. Better yet, enter your best email at fatburningman.com, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll even send you a quick start guide to start burning fat right now and a few of our ridiculously tasty recipes as a special thanks for signing up. Once again, just go to fatburningman.com right now, enter your best email to get your free fat burning download straight to your inbox, and make sure that you never miss a show again. This is Abel James signing off. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great week. Right.
So very low carbohydrate diets are not, they're not for everybody. And women especially tend to have these sort of counterproductive reactions. Like, it's great that you're losing weight, but it's at the expense of your immune system functioning, your sex hormones.